There's a stretch of highway in northern Nevada that runs so straight and empty at night it almost feels artificial, like a background in a video game that never loads anything else in. That's where this happened. Back in late 2023, a 26-year-old grad student named Daniel missed his connecting flight in Reno after a weather delay. The airline offered him a seat on a small overnight charter bus heading east towards Salt Lake City. It wasn't ideal, but it would get him there by morning. The bus was scheduled to leave at 12:40 a.m. Daniel almost didn't make it. By the time he reached the depot, which was really just a dimly lit parking lot behind a closed diner, the bus was already idling. It was old, not city transit old, older, the kind of coach with faded paint, tinted windows that had turned cloudy at the edges, and headlights that hummed faintly instead of shining clean. There were already passengers inside. Daniel remembers that part clearly. He climbed the steps, nodded at the driver, a heavy-set man in a reflective vest who didn't return the greeting, and scanned the rows. At least 10 people were seated, some by the windows, some in aisle seats, all facing forward. Not one of them looked at him. He assumed they were asleep. He took a seat about halfway down the aisle, dropped his backpack at his feet, and sent a quick text to his girlfriend. "On the bus. Should be there by 7. The bus pulled away from the depot without another word. For the first 20 minutes, everything felt normal. The low hum of tires on pavement, the occasional rattle from the overhead compartments, the soft vibration of the engine under his feet. Daniel put in his earbuds and tried to sleep, but he couldn't. Something felt off. He couldn't explain it at first. It wasn't a sound. It wasn't a smell. It was the stillness. No one shifted in their seats. No one coughed. No one adjusted a jacket or cleared their throat. Even on red-eye flights, even in libraries, people make noise. Subtle noise. Human noise. This bus was silent. Daniel removed one earbud and listened. Nothing. He glanced to his left at the man across the aisle. Mid-40s. Pale. Wearing a denim jacket. Head tilted slightly toward the window. Not asleep. Just staring. Daniel followed his line of sight. Outside was nothing but black desert. No lights, no buildings, no passing cars. He looked forward again. The driver hadn't turned on the cabin lights. Only the faint glow from the dashboard illuminated the front of the bus. Daniel tried to shake the feeling. Maybe they were all just exhausted. Another 10 minutes passed. Still no movement. He leaned forward slightly and looked down the aisle. That's when he noticed something strange. No one was blinking. At least, not that he could see. The woman 3 rows ahead, long dark hair, gray hoodie, hadn't moved once since he boarded. Her posture was too straight, too rigid. Daniel stood up slowly, pretending to stretch his legs. He stepped into the aisle and walked toward the back of the bus. No reactions. No one acknowledged him. As he passed each row, he realized something else. Their eyes weren't focused on anything. They were open, but unfocused, like mannequins posed in human positions. He stopped beside a man near the rear exit. "Hey," Daniel said quietly. No response. He cleared his throat. "Sir?" Nothing. The man's chest wasn't rising. Daniel felt his stomach drop. He leaned closer. The man's skin looked wrong. Waxy, slightly gray beneath the dim light. Daniel reached out, just barely, and touched the man's shoulder. It was stiff, not tense. Stiff, like fabric stretched over something solid. Daniel jerked his hand back. His breathing became uneven. He scanned the rest of the bus. Every single passenger sat upright, eyes open, perfectly still. No blinking, no breathing. He stumbled backward into a seat, heart slamming in his chest. This wasn't exhaustion. This wasn't coincidence. He was the only one moving, the only one breathing. His eyes slowly drifted toward the front. The driver. The driver hadn't moved either. Not once. not even to adjust the wheel. Daniel stood again, adrenaline overriding fear. He moved carefully down the aisle toward the front. The bus continued smoothly down the highway, perfectly straight, no swerving, no correction. When he reached the front row, he could finally see the driver clearly. The man's hands were gripping the steering wheel, but they weren't gripping it. They were fixed to it. His arms were rigid, his head faced forward, his eyes were open and unfocused. The bus wasn't being driven. It was just moving. Daniel looked through the windshield. The highway stretched endlessly ahead, but something about it was wrong. The reflective road markers weren't passing at normal intervals. They were spaced too evenly, too perfectly, like a looping animation. He stepped back, panic rising fast now. He pulled out his phone. No signal, not even a flicker. He tried calling 911 anyway. The call failed instantly. The clock on his phone read 1:12 a.m. He could have sworn it had been past 1 when he first checked. He looked again. 1:12 a.m.? The same minute. It didn't change. His breathing grew shallow. He rushed to the rear emergency exit and grabbed the red handle. He yanked. It wouldn't budge. He tried a window. Sealed. Locked. He ran back toward the front and shouted, louder this time. "Stop the bus!" His voice echoed strangely. Not like it should inside a vehicle. It echoed deeper, like the sound was traveling farther than the walls allowed. And then something happened. The woman in the gray hoodie, 3 rows ahead, blinked, just once, slowly. Daniel froze. Her head tilted slightly, not toward the window, toward him. Her eyes focused for the first time, locked directly onto his. And she smiled. It wasn't wide, it wasn't exaggerated, just a small, subtle curve of her lips. Then, one by one, the others began to move. Not naturally. Their heads turned in delayed, stiff increments, row by row, until every single pair of eyes on that bus was staring at Daniel. No one spoke, but their mouths slowly opened. In unison, Daniel backed into the driver's seat, nearly collapsing. The bus began to slow, not because someone pressed the brake, because the road ahead simply ended. The headlights illuminated darkness. No shoulder, no terrain, just empty black. The bus rolled forward anyway, and then everything went silent. The engine cut out. The lights flickered once, twice. Darkness swallowed the interior. When emergency responders found the bus the next afternoon, it was parked neatly on the shoulder of Route 50. Engine cold, battery dead. No sign of mechanical failure. Inside there were 11 passengers, all deceased, seated upright. No visible injuries. No cause of death determined. And in the middle of the aisle, a 12th seat had been pulled slightly back, as if someone had stood there recently. There was no record of a 12th ticket sold that night, but investigators did note something unusual. Every body was found with their eyes open, except one, the woman in the gray hoodie. Her eyes were closed, and her lips were slightly curved, as if she had been smiling.